Have you ever noticed that a loved one seems different in ways you can't quite explain? Maybe more withdrawn, sleeping more, or suddenly recalling memories from long ago? If you're caring for someone in the final chapters of life, or even if you're preparing for the road ahead, these subtle changes can feel confusing, even a little scary. You're not alone. Many families find themselves unprepared for the realities of the dying process, not because they don't care, but because these signs are rarely talked about openly, even by doctors. But here's the truth: there are quiet, powerful changes that happen in the body and mind near the end of life, and recognizing them can help you provide comfort, support, and peace. In this video, I'll share 6 lesser-known end-of-life signs that hospice nurses and geriatric specialists say every family should know. These insights can make a world of difference in how you understand your loved one's needs and how you cope emotionally. If someone close to you is aging, ill, or entering hospice care, please stay with me until the end. The last sign on the list is one most people miss, but it holds deep emotional and spiritual meaning. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss thoughtful insights that truly matter. Now let's begin. The gift of withdrawal. One of the most subtle and most misunderstood signs that someone may be nearing the end of life is withdrawal. You may start noticing it slowly. Maybe your loved one begins speaking less. They don't pick up the phone like they used to. They stop responding to messages. Family visits that once brought them joy now leave them feeling tired or even irritable. The sparkle in their eyes when they talk about the future begins to fade. They may even start sleeping more, sometimes 16 to 20 hours a day. To those who love them, this can feel confusing, even painful. You might ask yourself, are they giving up? Are they depressed? Why won't they talk to me anymore? But here's what hospice nurses and geriatric specialists want you to know. This isn't rejection. This is a natural part of the dying process. It's the body, the mind, and in many cases, the soul, beginning to slowly disconnect from the outside world. It's called active withdrawal, and far from being a sign of despair, it's actually a deeply intuitive and often peaceful response to the body preparing to let go. Why it happens. As the body begins to shut down, energy becomes more limited. Just like a phone on low battery, everything starts slowing down. Movement, speech, attention. But it's not just physical. Emotionally and spiritually, many people begin turning inward. They may be reflecting on their life, sorting through memories, seeking internal peace, or even beginning to say goodbye in their own quiet way. Some will spend time with old photos, others may seem lost in thought, gazing at a distant point for minutes at a time. Some even begin speaking in metaphors, referencing going home or packing for a trip. They're not confused, they're transitioning. What you can do. When someone starts to withdraw, your instinct might be to talk more, fill the silence, cheer them up, or encourage them to keep fighting. But the most loving thing you can do is allow them space, be present, sit quietly nearby, hold their hand, speak gently, even if they don't respond. Your presence speaks louder than any words. Hospice caregivers say that even when a person stops communicating outwardly, they often still hear and feel everything around them. Many families find that reading a favorite book, playing soft music, or simply reminiscing in a low, calming voice can offer great comfort. Not just to the person who is withdrawing, but to everyone in the room. A real-life story. Let me tell you about Marcus, a 92-year-old man in hospice who was known for his sharp wit and love of storytelling. But in his final 2 weeks, something changed. He stopped talking, stopped eating. He began sleeping most of the day and rarely opened his eyes. At first, his daughter Lucy was devastated. "Where's my dad?" she would whisper, holding back tears. "He's not here anymore." But one of the hospice nurses gently told her something she never forgot. "He is here. He's just on a different path now. He's doing the hardest work of his life, letting go." So Lucy changed her approach. She stopped pushing. She simply sat with him. She held his hand, played old jazz records, and read his favorite poems aloud. And one afternoon, just for a moment, he opened his eyes, squeezed her hand, and whispered, "Thank you for staying." That was the last thing he ever said. What it means for you. The gift of withdrawal is that it invites us, all of us, to slow down, to stop filling the space with noise, to stop trying to fix or change what is sacred and natural, and instead to witness, to honor, to accompany. Withdrawal isn't a wall, it's a doorway. Your loved one isn't shutting you out, they're simply crossing into a place where words and even time don't quite work the same anymore. And in that quiet space, your presence, your patience, and your love matter more than ever. So if you're noticing someone you care about pulling away, don't take it personally. Don't panic. Lean in, softly. Speak with your heart. Trust the silence, because in those quiet moments, more than we realize, we are saying the most. A surge of energy before decline. This next sign often takes families by surprise. Imagine this. Your loved one has been weak, barely eating, mostly sleeping. Conversations are short, they seem distant, slow, fragile. And then, suddenly, something shifts. They wake up bright-eyed. They sit up in bed. They ask for their favorite meal, start cracking jokes, or begin talking like their old self again. You might even hear them say something like, "I feel good today. I think I'm getting better." For families, it can feel like a miracle, like a turning point. But what most people don't realize is that this sudden improvement, known as the rally, is often one of the final signs that death is near. Why it happens? Hospice nurses see this all the time. It's not a myth. It's not wishful thinking. It's a very real and deeply moving part of the dying process. Medically, what happens is this. The body, after conserving energy for days or even weeks, releases a temporary burst of adrenaline and endorphins. In some cases, there's a short-lived stabilization in organ function. The result is a window of clarity, connection, and alertness. It may last a few hours, occasionally a day or two, rarely longer. Doctors don't always explain this clearly because it's difficult to predict, and they don't want to take away hope. But hospice workers say this burst of energy is a final gift, a moment of grace before the transition. What it looks like. During a rally, your loved one may ask for visitors they haven't seen in a long time, suddenly regain appetite and want real food, recall vivid memories from their childhood, speak with clarity, purpose, even humor, share thoughts about death, peace, forgiveness, or letting go, or simply sit and smile as if seeing something you can't. And just as quickly as it arrives, it fades. A real-life moment. Let me tell you about a man named Peter. He was 86 and in his final days with advanced lung disease. For over a week, he hadn't spoken more than a few words. He refused food. His eyes rarely opened. Then one morning, he asked for a cup of tea. Not just any tea, Earl Grey with a splash of milk, his wife's favorite. He sat up, asked to see his grandkids, and told each one a story from their childhood. He told his wife he loved her and thanked her for their years together. "I'll see you in the morning," he said as he dozed off. But he didn't wake up. Peter passed peacefully in his sleep that night. To his family, that day was a miracle. They said goodbye, not to a frail, silent man, but to the father, husband, and storyteller they remembered. It became a memory they cherished forever. That's the power of the rally. How you can make the most of it. When this sudden energy appears, your first instinct might be celebration, or even the belief that things are turning around. And while hope is beautiful, this is the time to be fully present. Say the things you've been holding back. Ask the questions you've been too afraid to ask. Tell stories. Reminisce. Be close. Don't put it off. Don't wait for a better time, because this is the time. Many families later say, "I'm so glad we had that moment." They remember the smile, the eye contact, the warmth. Even just one day of clarity can heal old wounds, bring peace to the heart, and close the book with love instead of fear. What it means. Emotionally, the surge of energy is often the final act of a life well lived. Some say it's the spirit's way of giving closure. Others believe it's the body's last message to the people it loves. "I'm still here, and I love you." Either way, it's not false hope. It's a sacred pause. A time where the soul gathers its last strength to reach out before letting go. Changes in breathing patterns. Irregular breathing is one of the most common signs that the body is shutting down. But what doctors don't always explain is just how varied and emotional this can be. You might hear long pauses between breaths, shallow panting, or something called the death rattle, a gurgling sound caused by throat secretions. It can be unsettling, but hospice professionals say it's not painful. The person is not suffering. It's simply the body letting go in its own rhythm. Keeping the room calm, playing soft music, and elevating the head can bring comfort. This is a time for peace, not panic. Visions and conversations with the unseen. Have you ever heard someone speak to a loved one who passed away long ago? Or reach towards something invisible? Doctors often brush this off. But hospice workers say these experiences are surprisingly common in the final days or hours. Patients may talk to a parent, a spouse, even a beloved pet who died years earlier. And here's what's beautiful. They're usually not afraid. Many describe it as comforting, even joyful. Some believe these are spiritual visitations. Others see it as the brain's way of helping them transition peacefully. Whatever you believe, know this. It's normal, and it's not hallucination or confusion. It's part of the journey. Changes in skin, color, and temperature. In the final hours, blood flow shifts. You might notice cold hands or feet, blotchy skin, or a pale bluish tint, especially on the legs and knees. This is known as mottling, and while it can be alarming, it's a natural part of the dying process. It doesn't mean they're in pain. It simply means the body is focusing on essential functions. Keeping your loved one warm and comfortable with soft blankets or light touch can bring more comfort than you know. Even when they can't respond, your presence matters. A profound stillness and the moment of letting go. Here's something rarely talked about: the deep stillness that often happens in the final moments. Breathing slows, the face relaxes, sometimes there's a faint smile or a quiet sigh, and then peace. Families often ask, did they know I was there? Was it peaceful? Did they suffer? And hospice nurses say, yes, they know. They feel your love. And no, they are not suffering. The final moments can be deeply meaningful, even sacred. Your touch, your words, your presence. They carry more power than any medicine ever could. Now that we've explored these 6 powerful signs, let's take a moment to reflect. Facing the end of life is never easy, but knowledge is comfort. Awareness is peace. Here's what we've learned. Social withdrawal isn't rejection. It's a quiet preparation. That burst of energy is a gift. Use it well. Changes in breathing are natural and not painful. Conversations with the unseen are more common than you think and often comforting. Skin changes are a sign the body is doing its final work. And stillness in the end is peaceful, not fearful. These aren't just medical facts, they're emotional truths, shared by nurses, caregivers, and loved ones who've walked this journey again and again. So if you're caring for someone near the end of life or simply preparing for the future, remember this. You don't need to fix anything. You don't need all the answers. Just be there. Be present. Be love. Because sometimes the most powerful medicine is simply you. If this video brought you clarity or comfort, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need it. And let us know in the comments, what insight resonated with you most? Your story could help someone else feel a little less alone. Thanks for being here. Stay compassionate, stay connected, and take care of each other. We'll see you in the next video.